Well, good morning, all you shiny, happy people. 'Tis the Reverend. Who would have thunk it? Oh my goodness! I used to. I've done this podcasty type thing now several times, and I've never stuck with it. I think my wife and I we had one for a little over a year, maybe as a couple of years, and then I was with like professionally the American Justice podcast. We did that for a few seasons. Um, that actually ended up getting mentioned on 60 Minutes one night, so that was cool. But and I've been a guest on many other podcasts, being an author, and every time I've tried to do it, it's always been like for hateful things. Like, yeah, I'm gonna rant, and ooh, you know what really grinds my gears, and you know, the whole damn world is like that now, and it's a very unpleasant place to be. So I'm getting older. I'm uh, I'm about to turn 52, and actually injured right now. Actually, pretty immobile at the moment because for our wedding anniversary, we decided we were going to go ride roller coasters. We're both huge coaster junkies, and like she even snuck it into our wedding vows. So that's what we try to do every year on or around our anniversary is go ride roller coasters. And because thank you, phone, I love you too. uh so anyway, how that goes, you can tell I'm so unprofessional at this. I mean, I'm not going to say unprofessional. This is not. I'm not spending money on anything anymore, other than maybe like marketing and stuff like that. I'm not going to spend money on a podcast. I'm not trying to be a famous podcaster or a famous internet personality or anything. I'm a writer. I have a microphone, and I have a YouTube channel, and I have a website for all my junk, and that's cool. That's enough, man. This is an outlet. What the world needs now is like a place to speak and somebody to listen, somebody who's going to be like nonpartisan and not polarized like everybody seems to be right now. Oh crap! Hey, true story. I think I just got bitten by a spider on my toe. That sucks. So hey, you were right here when it happened. Anyway, so maybe I want to start talking about things that I'm passionate about, and instead of angry about, because there's enough anger in the world. So I've got a couple of new books coming out and whatever, and we'll get on to that as the time comes. And I've got a film I'm working on, and we'll get to that when the time comes. But what I wanted to talk about this morning is since I've been immobilized, I started watching some old TV, and I'm not much of a TV guy. I'm a movie guy. Not much of a TV person. But since I've been married, my wife is, and she's gotten me into like Buffy and Battlestar Galactica, and then of course there's the Disney shows. But I mean, that's different. I just can't sit down and watch television shows for long periods of time. I can't. It's hard for me to binge watch things. Although I am enjoying the new Alien Earth. My goodness, there is a whole conversation going on in the universe that I need to be a part of, and yeah, that can wait. That can wait. That's a half-hour wait conversation. That's okay because I'm really trying to concentrate more on this. So anyway, as I was stuck on der couch because I couldn't walk yesterday, I can walk this morning, kinda, with assistance. good old army walking stick. I can shuffle today. How's that? Shuffle. One of my neighbors told me a couple of days ago I look like Master Splinter. So man, it just sucked. Anyway, yeah, 52 riding roller coasters is the same thing for an older person as like getting in a car wreck and going, "Oh no, no, I'm fine, I'm fine." And like 2 or 3 days later, you're not fine. Yeah, that's what roller coasters do to us. They're fun as hell in the moment, but you got to think about the long term, okay? You have to really be dedicated to the cause to ride that roller coaster at my age. Um, I'm just happy that my gut fits in the lap bar at this point in life. So yeah, there's nothing more embarrassing than being kicked off a ride in front of all these other people because you're too big. And like I don't know, like don't I don't understand why people do that to themselves. But yeah, when I worked at a theme park, I saw that firsthand a lot, and it was so, man, it wasn't just embarrassing for them; it was embarrassing for me. But that's another conversation for another time. Anyway, I just had to add that little tidbit of information to it. So, anyway, I found the entire, like, you can't say original series because a lot of those anime type series that we watched as kids were, it wasn't American animation. The Americans would purchase old shows that were in syndication in Japan and then bring them over here and chop them all up and then create an original story with their chopped up cartoons. And I don't think any of us knew that as children. From a marketing standpoint, I think it's fascinating because they probably got those things dirt cheap. It was kind of, but not really the same thing with some later series like Pokemon and stuff like that. But really with like what we called G Force and what we called Star Blazer and probably even Speed Racer. But I'm talking about Voltron, and there's a movie in the works. It's going to be released next year. There hasn't been a trailer yet, but Henry Cavill is the lead, and I already have a problem with that, you know. But I digress. We'll see. We'll see. Who cares? The original American, there we go, Voltron series that they made with all the chopped up other series. I'm binging that now, and I'm binging it for the first time since I was a kid. And if you weren't one of those Voltron people, here we go. We're gonna go to good old Wikipedia because that's the thing. If you want to know anything, so yeah. Let me take a sip of coffee here. There we go. So, Voltron, according to the fine folks at Wikipedia, and if you are one of those Wikipedia type people who use Wikipedia for a lot of your information, first of all, it's not all truth, so tread lightly, but, you know, that's when you're coming to opinionated things. When you're talking about, like, factual things or historic things or whatever, yeah, it's usually fine right now. I mean, you know, Big Brother will eventually come in here and scrub some shit, I'm sure. But I digress. But we're talking about a cartoon here, folks. Come on, I don't think our president cares about a cartoon. He may, who knows, yet to be determined. So, from the fine folks at Wikipedia, Voltron is an American animated television series franchise that features a team of space explorers who pilot a giant super robot known as Voltron, produced by Peter Keefe or Queef or Keefe. Like if my last name was Queef, I would tell everybody it was Keefe. He was the executive producer with Ted Koplar through his production company World Events Productions. Voltron was an adaptation of several Japanese anime television series from Toei. All the anime people are probably cursing me right now. Is that Toei Animation? The original television series aired in syndication from September 10th of 1984 to November 18th of 1985. So it wasn't even out that long. The first season of Voltron, featuring the Lion Force Voltron, and that's the Voltron that we all know and love, and that's what we think of when we hear the name Voltron, was adapted from the series Beast King Go Lion. The second season, featuring the vehicle team Voltron, was adapted from the unrelated series Armored Fleet Dairugger, Dairuger 15. Voltron Defender of the Universe was the top-rated syndicated children's show for 2 years during its original run, and it spawned 3 follow-up series, several comic books, and a line of toys. So, I remember... Hey, there's the sounds of good old Dallas outside the window. The sirens. What in the butt? There we go. Yes, that is the sound of the world on its way. Excellent. So, Voltron was not... I mean, it made such a dent, I guess, in pop culture. Now, it wasn't Transformers. Not by a long shot. But it wasn't Kmart Transformers either. That was the GoBots. But Voltron was only out a few years, or looks like a little over a year, and it blows my mind. I'm sure in syndication, I'm sure a lot of it was regional. You know, I'm a younger kid. The grandparents' house that I watched it at, they didn't have cable. They had one of those big tall towers outside of their house. But when I would go to my other grandmother's house a couple of blocks away, like I couldn't watch it there because she had cable, and cable didn't carry that channel. It was, man, such a crazy time when it came to television. So I would go to that grandmother's house to watch Voltron. And then when my parents would go and rent movies for the weekend, when they would rent a VCR, yes, VCRs were so expensive when they first came out, or we were just that poor. I'm not sure. Probably a mixture of both. But my parents would rent a VCR from the video store and rent like 4 or 5 videos for us to watch over the weekend. Usually a movie for them to watch after we went to bed. No, I'm sure. I hope it wasn't porn. Those old country video stores, they always had that back room, the legendary back room, and it was exactly what we thought it was. So they would, but a normal movie, but just an R-rated movie. I grew up in I half grew up in a very religious household. So we as kids, we didn't get to watch some of the popular movies that were out for a couple of years after they had, kind of worn off. Or I'd just go to, when I go back to my mom's house, I'd watch it because she didn't care. it's freaking TV. But I would watch this at my grandmother's house, and like video companies would release these like 4 or 5 episodes, almost like make it like a mini movie and throw them on a VHS tape and milk us kids dry. Because I think I had all the Ninja Turtles episodes like that. So Voltron, we rented that a couple of times, and it was kind of their origin story, I guess. But as I'm rewatching this, and I'm about 5 episodes in right now, I don't remember half of it. It's almost like I think it's about a revolution and against like the reptilians, and I'm like, what in the hell, man? I remember none of this. I just, of course, the parts I remember, I remember the big robot fighting the crazy monster. I don't remember anything political or about uprisings or genocide or any of this. Like, was all of this cut out of the show when we were children, or as children did we just tune out and not give a damn, and we just waited? We waited for the fighting stuff. We waited for the form Voltron and all the fighty stuff. We wanted them, when that music started, it had your total attention, that's just, oh, here it goes. They're flying up. They're going to merge together and form Voltron. These lions, not the cars. We didn't watch the cars. Nobody likes the cars. The cars were a money grab, okay? We're not talking about the vehicle Voltron or the Gladiator Voltron that never made it here, but they sold toys for it because I remember seeing them. I told my grandmother I wanted Voltron toys for Christmas, and she got me the vehicles. But I digress. Hey man, if there's more than a generation between you, like, there is no comprehension at all when it comes to gifting. I'm telling you right now. I just gave one of my grandkids an arcade cabinet. Merry Christmas for the rest of your life, dude. So, where was I? Voltron. So the lions. The music would start, and I'm not gonna bother putting the theme music in here. I'm not gonna like overly edit this thing to make it sound professional. I'm really not trying to fluff anyone. I'm just trying to speak. You know what I mean? I was almost famous once, and it was horrible. Anyway, still is. So the lions would go up, and the music would start. The theme music, and it had just, oh my God, like, listening to it now, I want to go upstairs and like learn how to play it on the guitar. It's such a, but I'm sure if I look on YouTube, there's a million guitarists that have done it already. So, it's just, I don't know, man. It's like, it would put the kids in a trance, here they'd go. It'd like, dun, 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 and they're all, it's the same sequences. The more I watch this cartoon, it's the same sequences reused and recycled over and over, but we didn't care. Like, all we wanted to see the lions form Voltron, kick a robot's ass, and then the next episode, hurry up and fast forward to the fight. Hurry up and fast forward to that theme music. We don't care. We don't care that entire planet's worth of people are dying. We don't care that this planet was enslaved by an alien race. All of it was inconsequential. I mean, was that part written for the older nerds? Or perhaps the story was just invented because a room full of writers wanted to vent their political frustrations at the time. It's kind of like, what I'm not a cartoonist, but it's kind of like, what they do with South Park and Family Guy. It touches the hot points. But back when Voltron came out in America, 84, 85, I mean, if you're Gen X and you need to put your mind in a time frame, think Van Halen 1984. Think Jump. Think Hot for Teacher. And then think the Van Halen breakup and then the joining with Sammy Hagar and the 5150 album. This is the era that I'm talking about. So, that which was a good time for me because Van Halen 5150 is one of my top 10 favorite albums of all time. I love Sammy Hagar's vocals with Eddie Van Halen's guitar. It works better. Nothing against David Lee Roth. I just think they're the better band. Anyway, back to Voltron. That's the mindset you have to put yourself into. So I'm seeing this as a kid. I'm 11 years old, 11, 12, around there. And I don't care about the story. All I know is there's one little dorky kid that always wears green that's hanging out with all these adult men, but he gets to do everything that they get to do. And green was my favorite color. Still kind of is, sort of, maybe. It really was then. I think purple, like a mixture of purple, black, and green. I think those are my favorite colors. Yeah, I'm like, man, I want to be that kid. Like the Green Lion is the most awesome. Which it wasn't. It was totally the Black Lion. That's all I cared about, though, as a child. And probably you, too, if you put it in perspective. That was the part of the show that I, as a kid, wanted to see. I cared nothing about the quote-unquote filler of the episode. When it came to Transformers, we just wanted to hear the noise that they made when they transformed. And then we were good. Once we heard that noise, we were okay. Or if it was, G.I. Joe, is when those laser guns would start firing off into the nowhere because no one ever died. That's all we wanted. We didn't care about what led up to the confrontation. We just wanted the confrontation. And I just imagine, there's a company with a room full of guys, and this company has just bought this entire shipment of animated cells and TV shows, and they're like, here, make a story with it. Because that's how Transformers were born, kinda. This guy worked for Marvel Comics, and it was like a holiday weekend, and he was like low man on the totem pole, and they just drop a box of toys on his desk on Friday, and he's like, I need you to create an entire world for these toys by Monday. And the Transformer comics. Marvel, old school Marvel, not giant Kingdom Marvel, like tiny Marvel, like only for the nerds, tiny Marvel. That's how Transformers got their backstory and their names and all that stuff. Some lucky now, but unlucky at the time, Schmuck got his holiday weekend taken away from him. And now we know it all. It's kind of the same way with Voltron. They, like, here's a TV show. Beat the living crap out of it and create something new. And that is what they did. And a lot of the voices are the voices from, well, every other animated series aimed at young boys back then. Like Peter Cullen. Stuff like that. They all have voices. It's but rewatching it as an adult now, and like really paying attention and picking apart and like getting inside, what were the writers thinking? And then you look at the subject matter that links all those fighting parts together. You look at the glue that's holding the flashy stuff, the stuff that sells toys. Look at the glue that's holding that stuff together, and it was probably a room full of writers venting their political frustrations, whoever they were, what was going on in their world, and then you compare it to things that are going on in our world now, and you look. I mean, freedom of speech has come so far that, you know, TV shows like Family Guy and South Park and all that can say and do whatever they want. Back then, I mean, it's being challenged now, of course, but back then in the 80s, man, you didn't dare come out and say this stuff in public, at least not in the tiny places of our country. And I don't know. I get the feeling. I'm sure I can look this up. I'm sure there are facts somewhere. But this is just me getting a feeling that the writers in the room for Voltron, those like whatever 82 episodes that they made out of it, I think, like, I'm starting to see conflicts and an overall story arc that resembles, like, I guess what was in the early 80s, the political landscape, wars and, you know, crimes against humanity and things like that. I'm sure it was influencing every episode. So now I'm watching this show with completely different, pardon me, I am RFK Jr. I'm not, or I'm turning into RFK Jr. Hell, ask Mr. Owl, I never made it without biting. Mr. Kennedy, how many needles does it take? Oh, stop. No politics. So anyway, yeah, Voltron. I'm watching it with middle-aged Gen X adult eyes, and I'm watching it like retrospectively, and it's just interesting what you see now as someone whose eyes have opened to the facts of our childhood and not the sugar-coated, filtered version that we received as young people in the early 1980s. Anyway, I invite you to do the same thing. It wasn't expensive. I got the entire series on digital for $20. And if you were a fan back then, I mean, and I'm a fan. I have a t-shirt. I have a Voltron t-shirt that I wear from time to time. Yeah, I'm a fan. And there's the movie coming out, so everybody will be fans. And all of this old stuff will get brought back up. Everybody will binge it. They'll see that it sucks compared to what they're going to give us now, and it will fade away into obscurity. And then later on down the line, if the world stays normal and doesn't end, in about 20 more years, the old stuff will pop back up. But anyway, you know how it works. You see it work with every franchise, especially Star Wars. We're not talking about that today. But go back and watch the old Voltron series, the Lion series, and just watch the like literary political glue that holds all the flashy stuff together. I mean, looking back, it's actually kind of genius. But we'll see. I'm going to continue watching the series, and that's all I want to talk today. Like a little half-hour talks about, life and nostalgia and nerd things and pop culture and music and not that much political stuff at all, because I have a feeling, kiddies, it's going to be so in our faces very soon, whether you like it or not, that you'll need an escape. Anyway, preach truth, toke joke, shoplift Amazon. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I might or might not do this again next week. How's that? Yeah, that sounds great.